Hello, all you huggable lollipops. I am Joseph the Huggist, and this is movie review in question marks. And please forgive my capture of Grand Theft Auto 3. For some reason, my capture isn't capturing PS2 games all that well. I think it's the cable setup that I have for it. Because it was working a few weeks ago, now it's not. But I'm playing Grand Theft Auto 3 because I watched The Irishman, which is a crime movie. In 1950s, truck driver Frank Sheeran gets involved with Russell Buffano and his Pennsylvania crime family. As Sheeran climbs the ranks to become a top hitman, he also goes to work for Jimmy Hoffa, a powerful teamster tied to organized crime. Now, I didn't know anything about this movie before I watched it, except the Al Pacino, Pesci, and De Niro were in it, and it was very good. It's a really long movie. I think it's almost 4 hours. Like most Martin Scorsese, I butchered his name. Scorsese, I butchered his name again. Like most of his movies. I'm not going to try a third time. Most of his movies are long. And one of my favorite movies of all time is Gangs of New York. So I'm alright with watching his movies. So, how many times I lost interest was zero. Didn't lose interest at all in this movie. My least favorite scene, I don't know if I have any scenes that really bugged me all that much. I didn't write one down, so I didn't think of any. I'm trying to think of one now. There's a lot of scenes in there. Nope. My most favorite scene is the first time he did a hit on anyone, because it looks realistic. So the three actors slash characters I want to talk about. The first one is uh, Robert De Niro. He was amazing in this movie. He was he was telling a story, and to someone narrating it was, I think it was to the crowd, but it could have been to the, there was a priest at the end. He could have been telling it to the priest, but he was fantastic in this movie. This is the first movie where I really thought he was fantastic in a long time. Felt like he wanted to be in it. Joe Pesci was also amazing in the movie, and never understand how someone with such a small stature can be cast acting as a tough guy, and whoa, I'm sorry about that. That everyone will just accept it and believe it because he is a great actor. And Al Pacino as Jimmy Hoffa was the best part of the whole movie for me, bar none. He really makes this movie for me. So here are my notes. This is the first time I've actually seen Ray Romano in something that I am actually interested in watching. I know that's not a note about anything about the movie, but I never watched his show, or most of his movies bore the hell out of me. When Frank was kicking the ass of the grocery store employee or owner, I'm kind of on the side of Frank, because you don't touch other people's kids. I mean, not even a little. There's a lot of code words in this movie, like candy, uh, carpenter, painting houses, and school, and they were real easy to pick up on, which they were supposed to be easy, but there was the part where Frank says, "Why don't you just use some candy?" And was it Union guy? Union was like, "What's candy?" And then blows up the taxis. Oh. Man, a lot of people died in 79, 80, and 81. Every time they did one of those scenes where they showed you who died, it's like almost all of them were in those 3 years. There were some that was later, but a lot of them did die in the 70s, 80s, and 90s. So, note number 5 just says Jimmy Hoffa. Before this movie, he actually said the line in this movie, most of the young people don't even know who Jimmy Hoffa was at this point, and he's right, because all I know about Jimmy Hoffa was he disappeared. I don't know how much of this movie was factual, like how much is actually what is it? Stretch the truth, but I didn't know anything. I didn't even know Jimmy Hoffa was a union leader or whatever. I didn't know any of that. All I knew was he was disappeared. He's supposed to be like MetLife Stadium or something. Oh, what? Yeah, number 6. In real life, did someone try to assassinate Hoffa in the public courtroom? Did that actually happen? I tried looking that up. I couldn't find it. I didn't try very hard. I googled, nothing came up. But that was weird. How would he even get a gun into a courtroom? Were things that much more different in that time period? Number 7, the gun violence doesn't feel like other movies. It doesn't feel fake. Everything feels extremely real in this movie, and I appreciate it, and it's very disturbing. If someone actually were to get shot, I feel like that's how the bodies fall and all that. That's exactly the way it would happen. It's very disturbing. Number 8. So the movie takes place in the far past, the more recent past, and in the present. So at the beginning, he's in a wheelchair telling the story, and then it goes to like the middle of the story, and then it goes to the beginning of the story, and then sometimes it goes to the middle, then to the excuse me, I'm still dealing with I'm still sick. So it goes to the very middle, and then it just keeps jumping around until it gets to the end where it's the current recent time period. It was normally I don't like movies that do that. Like my biggest problem with the Man of Steel is not the death or anything in that movie. Like Superman, it's that I never knew what time period it was, and it was an awful movie. This one I was on board with. Number 9. The movie picks up when Hoffa is in it. Like, my favorite parts are when Jimmy Hoffa's in the movie, when Al Pacino's in the movie. And when he's not in it, it definitely feels slower. It feels like a 5-hour movie. When he's in it, it feels like a 2-hour movie. If you understand that. But I very much appreciated his performance in this movie. More so than anyone else's. And my last note on the movie that I wrote down, I love when there's no music at tense scenes. That is my favorite part, where it just lets it be tense. He's a master at that, where he doesn't think he needs to add any score or anything to it.
How you doing, kid? The Don's son, Joey Leone. He wants
It's unbelievable. So, those are all my notes. Overall, I think it's a fantastic movie. I don't think it's going to win Best Picture. It's definitely the only other movie I've seen. Well, I've seen Joker, but I haven't done a quotation marks review on that. But I haven't. The only other movie I've seen so far is Jojo Rabbit. and this is by far better than Jojo Rabbit. So if I was gonna rank them, it would probably be Joker's number one for me because that movie threw me off when I saw it in theaters, and when I do it again, I hope it has that feeling. Then it's probably The Irishman, and then it's Jojo Rabbit. So that's how I'd rank the three best pictures movies for me right now. So my rating of the movie, it's a 8 out of 10, which is not perfect, but it's very good. And on a scale of 5, how would I recommend it? It's most definitely a 5. So that's all I have to say about The Irishman. Oh, I think the next one I'm gonna check out is Ford vs Ferrari. I might rewatch The Joker again because that movie was excellent, and it's not as long as the rest of them. Like the best picture movies for this year are like real long. All of them are 2 hours or more. That's why I started out with Jojo Rabbit, is because it was so short, and this one was mainly just because I'm off sick right now, and I had 42 hours where I was clearance to go back to work. So I had nothing better to do except watch this movie.
Hey, I'm Joey. Luigi said you were reliable, so come back later. There might be some work for you. All right?
It wouldn't shock me if Al Pacino wins an award, though. He was amazing. Alright. So, that's all I have to say about that. My voice is starting to hurt, so please excuse me. I will see you next movie review. Bye.
Some Diablo scumbag has been pimping his scuzzy bitches in my backyard. Go and take care of things for me. If you need a piece, go around back of Ammunition opposite the subway.
Just log on to petsovernight.com and we'll send you a giraffe overnight. Petsovernight.com. Deliver.